Hey, it's Anthony with Phusion Ministries, aka Thundermouth, and this is a Thundermouth broadcast presentation. Today we're tying some political policies, opinions, going to compare them to Scripture or compare them to God's promises and God's laws, right? So in Phusion Ministries, we've been engaging in a study or an analysis, right? A journey where we've been looking at Joshua 1:6, right? And we're calling Joshua 1:6 a definite point of similarity, right? Definite point of similarity. So you would say, maybe what are those similarities? Why is Joshua 1:6 a definite point of similarity for our personal lives and for the lives or the history of a nation, our nation most especially, right? United States. So we're saying it's a point of similarity because, for one, let me go ahead and share my screen just a second. Look at this piece of scripture I got pulled up. Okay, so after the death of Moses, right? So we have, after the death of Moses, we have a guy named Joshua taking command or taking lead. So we have a shift or we have a change in leadership, right? So we know that right now we just had a change in leadership from one administration to another. So I want to compare administration's promises, right? So whenever there's a shift in leadership, right, whether that's a personal leadership or a nation's leadership, we can know for sure that, let's say, the Biden-Harris administration can know for sure that God said to him, just like he said to Joshua, be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land that I swore to their fathers to give them, right? So we understand that being strong, being in a place of leadership, something I said yesterday during the ministry teaching, right? I said that one thing's for sure, weak and cowardice will not cause any people to inherit any of the land, right? And we know that to the nation of Israel, this land that they were entering into, what it represented to them was freedom, right? What it represented to them really is salvation, right? To them, salvation was peace, well-being, prosperity, health, safety, security. So all of those things are something that they would inherit. So we can say that weak and cowardice won't cause any people to inherit or to enjoy any of those things associated, right? Freedom, prosperity, health, safety, right? All of those things. So it's going to take strength and courage for a leader to lead a people into those places and into those things. Okay, I see I got some people on, 3 people. I can't see any comments. I'm using StreamYard and they're not showing me anything right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep going with this. But if you're coming in, God bless you, grace and peace. Right? Hopefully this will be informational to you, right? Help you with full victory, right? Because one of the things we've been saying is Yahweh's design and his purpose, his plan for you is right now total victory, right? So he really desires that all of his creation be living in right now total victory. And part of the total victory, right? We can have a personal victory, but part of our total victory would depend on policies, right? So we're going to look at some of those ideas. So we can be sure that whenever there's a change in leadership over a nation, over a state, over a family, whatever, right? That Yahweh is going to speak to that leader and say to them, be strong and courageous, right? Because you shall cause, and strong and courageousness will cause a people to inherit the land that he swore to them. Let's look at verse number 7, Joshua 1:7. Only be strong and very courageous. Now, we said yesterday that that word only can also be translated as just, right? Just be strong. And that kind of gives it more of a personal touch to it. Like maybe we see Abba as a father who would say, hey, son, daughter, hey, just be strong. So wherever position, wherever you're in doubt and despair, know that God talks to you as a father, right? He sees you as his. And so, he would say an enduring, encouraging type of comforting term, like just be strong, right? So just be strong and very courageous. But here's what he's saying to a leader, to a nation, right? And we know that Joshua is now leading the people into this land, into prosperity, into freedom, into victory, into health, into safety, into security, right? Into all of those things that the land associated meant to these people, right? So he's telling Joshua how to lead. This is how you lead a people, a nation, right? So he says, be careful, being careful to do according to all the law that Moses, my servant, commanded you. So do not turn from it to the left or to the right, that you may have good success. So there is the key thing, good success, right? So I know that we all want good success. Even, a lot of Christian broadcasts right now, we're all, we're really interested in personal prophecies. We want to hear that God's going to do something good for our lives, right? And that's totally, that's a desire of ours. So we all want good success, but personal success is also dependent on or tied to a nation's responsibility. Right, so I'm going to use, let's say what's happening in Texas, right? I'm sure there are many Christians in Texas who are experiencing personal success or personal victory. But that personal victory, right, you can be in personal victory, in good personal success, and still be freezing in your home, right? Still, you can be having good success and still paying too much at the gas pump. So all of those things are related. And so Yahweh really wants, right? Abba Father really wants the nation of the world in good success. And that good success is dependent on being careful to do according to everything that he commanded us to do or has instructed us to do. So we're going to look at these instructions, right? And we know the basic instructions, the 10 commandments, right? We know those. Right? So these are the promises that if a nation, right, if a person, a nation, a country lives by these set standards, that country, that nation, those people will have good success from the bottom all the way to the top and the top all the way down, all the way through. Right? So we're going to look at these, and we know these things. So I want to take some So we're going to take some personal or some current events and compare them to these commandments that would be dependent for personal success. Okay? Right. So we know the 10 commandments. You shall have no other gods but me. You shall not make for yourself any idol, nor bow down to it, or worship it. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. It's kind of misuse is kind of use that as an advantage. Maybe steer people, cause them to believe that you follow him when you really don't. Okay. You shall remember to keep the Sabbath day holy, right? So that's freedom to worship, right? Public worship, freedom of religion, respect your mother and father. We know that is honoring the elderly. So we got to watch now that this current administration isn't respecting the elderly as much as it should, right? So we know the Marxist the communist, the socialist agenda, right? They don't respect their elderly, right? I looked at some stuff that what's his name, Emmanuel Ezekiel, right? And says, what is it? Consumption over. I got that article right here. Let's look at that real quick. Let's look at that. I think I got it. Maybe I don't. No. Okay. We'll skip that one. Respect your mother and father, and that's honoring the elderly, having respect for your elderly population, right? That they are still, valuable members of the society, that we just don't put them away, so it's all that type of attitude. But what I really want to reflect on today is do not commit murder. Do not commit murder. So we have to ask, is abortion murder, or is it like what this guy says, right? Abortion is women's health, right? So, Christians believe that abortion is murder, right? And it's not women's health. So we got this contradiction going on, right? Where Yahweh suggests, right? He tells people who lead to obey the laws, right? To obey these to obey these policies, right? To shape your conduct based on these standards, right? And so when we get leaders who aren't shaping their conduct, aren't passing laws or policies that reflect the belief that this is Yahweh's promises, this is what he would have a nation, how they should conduct themselves, how their position of belief, right? And so when we go against this, we can be assured that good success may be prevented from occurring, right? At least a personal good success may be hindered or influenced, may be reduced, right? So this administration says that abortion is not murder, but it's women's health. So I want to look at this article right here. Planned Parenthood CEO over the moon to expand abortion with VP Harris. An interview with Business Insider, Planned Parenthood CEO Alexis McGill Johnson confessed that she is completely over the moon that the abortion industry has a strong advocate in the new Vice President Kamala Harris, right? So not only does that administration, right now especially Kamala Harris, not only does she not believe that abortion is murder, she wants to not only allow this to happen, but she wants to promote it, right? She wants it to grow and to expand. So wants it to be a bigger part of healthcare, a bigger part of your life, a bigger part of maybe your daughter's opinion, your daughter's point of view, right? Because, say a Christian home, right? Say you're a Christian parent and you have a teenage daughter and you're really trying to instill these values on her, but she goes to school and gets a whole nother set of opinions, right? So that set of opinions would also influence. So as a nation, as Christian believers, not only do we have to teach those values in our home, we have to try to get those values to be taught in the public square and in the school system, right? These laws need to be reflected. And really, I want to say to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, never mind the science, start following God's law, right? So this God says this is how you would shape your opinion, not after the science. Don't let science be the thing that shapes your opinion. that bases your decisions. Let my law be the thing, right? So as a people, as a God nation under God, right, as a body of believers who want good success for myself, for my neighbor, for all of everyone involved, right? We want these things to be occurring for the purpose of good success, personal and national. Let's go ahead and continue in this article. Okay. I'm completely over the moon, so excited to support her leadership, and support their vision. So now she's talking about both of these people, their vision, right? Joined with this same person, their vision for how we transform healthcare. So that's kind of scary to me, because not only is she now talking about women's reproductive health, but she's talking about healthcare in general. So not just women's health. Now they're talking about they want to get into healthcare across the board. It's like what type of healthcare is Planned Parenthood interested in, right? So anyway, it's how we transform healthcare as well as sexual reproductive healthcare. Johnson said, noting that Harris has really demonstrated her faculty of understanding our issues. Vice President Harris supports directing more federal funding towards abortion businesses like Planned Parenthood. Okay, so there's this opinion that this woman is a good Christian woman, right? This good Christian woman, right? If her views and values don't reflect this, or turns from some of it from the left or to the right, well, this isn't a good Christian woman, right? This is not a good leader. This is a person that's not leading the nation into anything that would be considered good success because of these policies, because of the way they want to shape the nation, right? Our belief system, our opinion. So Vice President Harris supports directing more federal funding, want you to pay for abortion, right? Taxpayer money going to abortion, or most specifically, places like Planned Parenthood, right? They're going to want them to prosper, right? So forget the average people prospering, or God-fearing people. Forget having them prosper. Let's have these murderers and let's give them prosperity, right? So she says, Planned Parenthood, along the issues that Planned Parenthood is facing. Watch this part. That Planned Parenthood is facing is a decades-long national decline in abortion rates. Yes, right? So there's been a decades-long decline. So that should speak to these people and say, hey, man, we don't want it, right? It's been declining because we don't want it, right? We're having some victory because we're teaching people that this is not God's opinion. It's not part of his design, right? So people don't want it. It's been a decline for decades long, right? Right here it says decade national abortion rates. Yet even as numbers declined nationally, Planned Parenthood's abortion numbers increased as it captured more of the U.S. abortion market share, right? So this is business to them, right? This is an industry to them. This isn't just about them trying to protect women's health. This is business, and it's big money. So they captured more. So they're competing, right? So these places like Planned are competing, right? They want to, so like any business, they want to have ad campaigns. They want to put it in the marketplace. They want to put it in your home. They want people to see this is a valued commodity. Okay, so Biden-Harris mission will be a helping hand to Planned Parenthood profitability. Profitability, right? They're going to profit off murder, profit off killing children, profit off going away from God's set of standards. They're profiting off taking the nation into a place of reducing good success. They profit off that. Let me go back to the article. Champion of the abortion industry. Harris is considered a champion of the abortion industry, wrote Matt Hadro of the Catholic News Agency. When the Biden campaign announced her inclusion in the ticket in August, Planned Parenthood Action spent 5 figures on an online video ad promoting Harris. He added that several of Harris's 2016 Senate campaign donors were executives at pro-abortion organizations, and Harris later grilled judicial nominees on abortion as a senator. Okay, so she's profiting, right? So profiting off of this right here, right? Profiting off going against God's law. So she's not having any consideration for the nation to have good success, right? So if you want to know if people want leaders want to, if they want you to have good success, look at what their policy shapes, right? What they're looking at, right? Because according to God and His standard, He says, right? He says right here in Joshua that we'll have good success, that a nation, a person, a country, a county, a group of people will have good success from the top all the way to the bottom if, right, if we're careful to do according to all the law of this law here. Okay, so going from this, if a leader wants to go away from this, they're trying to prevent you from having good success, right? And we see it's abundantly clear here because she's more concerned with donations. Okay, so let's keep going. Planned Parenthood connections and conflicts of interest. Harris has received campaign donations from the abortion industry, most notably from Planned Parenthood. Financial contributions for pro-abortion groups to Harris total at least $81,000. Those donors include 5 California Planned Parenthood affiliates who were implicated in the Center for Medical Progress undercover investigation of the sale of aborted fetal body parts. Okay, aborted fetal body parts. Right, so this is why they're so behind her, right? Because she'll cover up, right? Not just make abortion about women's health, but cover up the fact that it's about the fetal body parts, right? She'll cover that up. She covered that up. So that is why they're pouring so much money into it, because it's big business, and she'll cover up the fact that they're selling body parts. Okay, it was therefore a massive conflict of interest when Harris chose not to investigate, potentially violating federal law by selling human body parts. Instead, targeted the undercover journalists who exposed Planned Parenthood. So they're going to turn it around. Right, so going to protect the selling of body parts, right, and turn it around and attack those who say differently, right? So not only do these wicked people, right? Not only are they turning from the right or to the left, right? Turning from the right or to the left, right? Because we say right here, right? Joe Biden reversed the plan. That means turned away from a plan. So there was a plan, right? There was a plan. There was a law that thought maybe, hey, maybe abortion is murder. Maybe we shouldn't be doing it. And so this guy comes up and says, nah, that's nonsense. And abortion, that's not murder. That's women's health. Right? And if you say anything else, say that it's not, well, that's an attack on women's health. See this part right here? An attack. So not only do they want to make sure that people turn from the left or to the right from doing these values because they don't want you to have good success, right? They want to follow the science instead of God's laws, God's opinion, God's set of standards, right? So they don't want good success for you because if they wanted good success for you and for your nation, they would be passing laws that are more aligned with God's laws. Okay, I'm preaching, right? And so this is all about selling these body parts, right? Not only do they, right? So it's not really about women's health. They just masquerade it as that. But it's really about selling these body parts, right? They need these body parts for their weird science projects, right? For their vaccine rollout, right? RNA vaccinations that are going to become a regular every year, new variant, new strain. So they need more and more of these aborted fetal body parts, right? For stem cell research and all of their transhumanism stuff, right? That go totally contradict this, right? So what happens when the top of the leadership doesn't want to obey these commands, right? Then the bottom tells them, hey, you better start, right? So we got to get out there. If Christian people want to have good success, if we want to have right now total victory, not just partial personal victory, but right now total victory, it's going to take strength and courage. It's going to take strength and courage to stand up and say, hey, you know what? No, we don't want this law. We believe that abortion is murder, and we believe that if you do it, you're causing us to not have good, you're preventing our success as a country and a nation. Right? So it's going to take strength and courage for the bottom to start saying to the top, hey, you pass these laws. Right, remove that law, pass that law, and start passing laws that more reflect God's command, because that's what we care about. We care about this. The nation cares about this. So so these leaders that are refusing to hear, right? They're not paying attention to the decades long. Right, look at decades long. It says right here, decade long decline in abortion rates. So they want to reverse that decades long decline and start having it, skyrocket. So how do you make abortion rates reverse their decline? So how would you make abortion more profitable? Right? Well, how about this? How about you would just encourage people to commit adultery, or you would encourage sexual immorality, right? You would start promoting a decline in morals, right? That would, so all of the reasons that women have abortions, you would want those things to skyrocket, right? So more rape, right? More sexual immorality, more adultery, a decline of all of these values, right? So you would want these values to be declining so that abortion would start rising, right? So for abortion to start rising, these things would have to be reduced, right? And to reduce your good success, they have to start removing this from the public opinion, right? So that's what it's all about, is a reversal from the public opinion. And really, right now we're engaged in attack on the image. They're after the image of God that we all are. So they really want to reverse that imagery. They want to remove God and his standards out of our thinking to prevent us from having good success. So there we go. Just wanted to share that news article, compare that news story to God's purposes and plans, right? So we are at a definite place in our nation's history where strength and courage are absolute necessities for continued victory, right? For personal success. Has to start from the bottom up all the way through, right? So if you want personal success, start adding it, right, values and opinions to the nation. So I just want to bless you guys with that, and encourage strength and courage. Encourage a fight, right? Encourage a fight. There is a fight going on for the nation, the soul of the nation, for the heart of the people, right? So really want to, when the enemy rises, God's sons rise up, right? So thank you guys for tuning in and joining. God bless. We'll see you next time. Phusion Ministries.